Welcome back to another AB Weekly Recap with the hockey coach, Guru Coach Franchise directly for the beautiful country of Thailand on an amazing, great November 5th, 2023. And the house is full because we are the both co-hosts, Mr. Marco Larabi and Mr. Enar Tapa, are back in the house tonight.
Good evening, Hockey Nation. Happy Sunday.
But
Good
they are
evening,
not
everyone.
only day to day. They are not on the ER. They are day to day. Marco with some kind of problem with the teeth, and Mr. Inartap some kind of illness with some kind of problem with the health. So we're going to
Cold.
be
Just a
ready to
cold.
rock and roll during the end of the week. Hopefully, in the next recap. By the way, no recap Sunday next week, guys. It's Monday night. Montreal play a back-to-back game this weekend against the Boston Bruins and Vancouver Canucks. So just want to be sure and put this on your schedule for the next week of the AB Weekly Recap. A lot of things to talk about. First of all, this is I call this for the week tonight a bad week. This is the first bad week for the Montreal Canadiens since the beginning of the season. I'm going to tell you a little bit more why behind this. And then after that, we're going to talk about fun subject around the Montreal Canadiens. And the prospect Lane Hutson did 3 goals during the weekend again the North Dakota whatsoever they lost again 5-4 in overtime after they beat them in overtime Friday night. So we have a lot of things to talk about. NHL news going to go around the league at the middle of the show, and we're going to try to get out there very quicker at 90 minutes after the show. We're going to be finished around 10:30 on the great Sunday night. So both of you, thanks to be with us. Maybe you want to add something before we welcome everybody in the house.
Well, I just want to welcome everyone tonight. It's going to be I think it's going to be a very interesting show today. We have a few topics to go over that might be controversial, but let's stay tuned. Let's keep it all respectful, and at the end, we're going to be better for it.
Here we go, Marco.
I just wanted to, share with everyone. I'm sure everybody is excited about the time change. I know it was awesome to see it was like completely freaking dark at 5:15 or whatever p.m. I still don't understand it, Coach. Why we have to change the time every year? Like it's a farming thing. It's for farmers. I don't get it. Write to your congressman, write to your parliamentarian, whatever. But can we please get rid of this stupid time change thing? It's just
We don't change
crazy.
the intent, so now I'm back normal. So I can sleep one
you
more
guys
hour in the
rock.
morning. So now I don't have to wake up at 4. We wake up at 5. The show start at 9. So it's not 8 o'clock. I have more time to go to the gym in the morning. So now my gym will be done in the morning. So back in my normal routine, because I don't like when we have 11 hours, friends. I prefer when it's 12 hours. You have the counts at 4, but good. But at the end of the day, I like that time of the season here. I don't feel it like you guys are, dark here late. We don't have this honestly here. It's always dark at the same time. I feel in the morning, I'm almost the same time. And not the big change in Thailand about that. One thing we know, I don't know. They put the thermostat at that way, but it's always been doing 26 to 29 Celsius for a couple of months. So I don't know. You wake up in the morning, it's 26. You wake up, you go to night, it's 29. So that's pretty much happening. Rain, no rain, it's the same thing about that. Until March, April, May, it's hot. 33, 34, 35, 36. But it is
All I
what it
can
is.
say, Coach, it's 2023, man. Like I think whatever the reason was for that, like farmers having more light or whatever the hell the reason was, I think we can safely move past that particular tradition, and let's pick a pony, as they say, and just choose which time frame we want.
Standard.
And yeah,
Yeah,
standard.
sorry about
Just go
that.
standard.
Let's
There's
welcome
no
everybody
need.
very quickly before we move on. Nicolas de Gauby-Bonneau, dans la région de Sherbrooke, il est avec nous ce soir. Nicolas, thanks to be with us, Nicolas. And again, this happening again when I move here. I don't know why. I don't know. Nobody told me why. But it looks like it's not good. So
I can take off my glasses. I can read it now.
I don't know.
It's like the good.
I try to figure out. It just turn around here. It's not a big deal anyway. We have Mr. Sébastien is in the house. Welcome back, Sébastien. piece of the cake, Sébastien. What's a piece of the cake for again the Blues, Sébastien? We saw that. Mr. Alan Vaillancourt is with us tonight with Irene and the mother-in-law. Hopefully doing well. Alan, you have a great day in Kentucky. Our friend Rick Bengal with Timothy and Halifax area is with us tonight. Rick, thanks to be with our conditioner show. Hopefully doing well. Archie Calavo from New Jersey back with us with all the comments and all the update what's going on. Very quiet night for him, so he said he would take it easy a little bit more. But our friend Roy from Bangkok, Thailand, he is with us tonight, this morning. Depends where you are around the world. But because he told me morning, so I was confusing. Randy Walkman from Alberta. Not in the freezer yet, but he's cold over there, I'm sure. Randy, you're doing well. Same statement about the Flame. That thing changed from Sunday to Sunday. So they are now always the same situation
They won.
about that. Abination is with us tonight. Welcome back, Mr. Abination. Notre ami, welcome back, Roger Collette. Welcome back, Mr. Roger. Thanks with us. We're going to talk about again next couple of minutes. Our GO will give the information. Luciano Graziano, the moderator, is in the house tonight. The Devils just scored a goal, guys. It's 3-1 on that one. We have 3-1. The Devils, if you want to know the score. Luciano, voting doing well. Luciano is the policeman in the house tonight. The Sharks from Nashville Predator is in the house tonight. Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, Léon Renaud is in the house tonight. He is the winner of the prediction preview Montreal Canadiens. He predict 0-2-1 is the only one did it, Léon Renaud, on the week number 4 for Montreal Canadiens. So, great job, Léon. Well done. The double T. We missed a triple W, but we have the double T. Terry is back with us tonight. Thanks to be with our Canadian show. Always a pleasure. And our friend from Newfoundland, where Dawson Mercer and Alex Newhook was born. Mr. Real Deal Prim is in the house. Try to get any other new name. All right, from Ottawa, Unibird, Mr. Claude Richard, notre ami Claude est de retour avec nous dans la capitale du Canada, directement de Ottawa, dans le canal de je sais pas quoi. Anyway, and then Arjik Calabro with all the update 3-1 there, and Rabinaf knocked the door early tonight. And Rabinov, thanks to be with us. Hopefully, to see Francois Pitt tonight. Francois does not work the Sunday night. Maybe it will pop up a little bit later on that one over there. Who is the next team? The Canadiens are playing Columbus, right? No. They play the Tampa Bay Lightning Tuesday, the Detroit Red Wings Thursday, the Boston Bruins Saturday, and the Vancouver Canucks Sunday. So, Sebastian, not looking good. Okay. It's not the team really easy right now. He's not going to appease a piece of the cake this time, maybe, something else. But Sebastian, be ready on that one. We'll talk about this a bit later. And that's it. That's all, guys. That's what we got so far. Don't forget to click on the like. That'd be awesome. The subject of the night, guys, first of all, let's talking about this. But very bad week on that one there for the Montreal. We're going to do the weekly recap. If you follow my video, guys, I did the one about Lane Hutson about 6 o'clock tonight, 7 o'clock tonight. The 3-goal of Lane Hutson. Really impressive. Check that video if you don't mind. We're going to see the video here, only the goal. And then after that, early this morning, the end of DJ Smith with Ottawa Senator. It's not tomorrow. It's going to be next day. But he's not going to pass the Thanksgiving for sure. He's maybe a nomination for the Turkey Rewards Awards for the Coach Frenchie Hockey Nation. But not looking good in Ottawa. Not looking good. That's the only thing we can talk about. We're going to talk about them a little bit later in the show, maybe at the end of the show. So that's what we got around. That's what we got. The first thing what we do, Mr. Altap, what we do at the beginning of the show, Mr. Altap.
Besides the hellos to everybody, it's headline time.
And then we do the headline. I don't know why I had. That's why it's in here. The headline of the night. Let's talking about this one with that guy's going to go around. I'm hiding, but I'll be back very shortly. Don't worry about that. The first one of the night is going to be by Marco, I believe. And if I'm right, a new standard for Marco. Here we go. I can't wait to hear that, Mr. Marco. Let's do it.
Yeah, so I think after the Vegas game, Sandy, we talked about how, and I think everybody would agree that the Vegas game was for sure at least the best game this season, if not, like Sandy, we was thinking he was the best game Montreal's played since he's been head coach, and it's hard to argue with that. And what he talked about then was after that game, the team decided collectively to raise the standard, meaning the team decided, like we're going to elevate our game, and now we've seen how the team can actually play, at what standard the team can actually perform. Now, as you know, I've been really emphasizing this year since the summer, what I really want to see is the team start to play the right way, right? Like play both sides of the puck, be on the right side of the puck, really learn how to play on both sides and play the game winning hockey, right? Like it's all about learning how to play winning hockey. And for me, for sure, that was one of, even though they didn't win, they were playing a very good game, a very good team, and they for sure played the most complete game that I've seen them play in a long time. So that sets a new standard, a new template for what we want them to do. And I guess the next challenge after that, and Sandy was very open about it, is now that we know that we can play at that standard, can we be consistent on that standard? And very quickly, based on the last two games, we learned, unfortunately, they're not at the stage where they can consistently play this standard. Now, there's some positive things, and I'm sure we'll talk about it as we go through and review the games and everything. There's still some positives to take from this, but at the end of the day, that's kind of what this year is about: is understanding what the standard is and a continuous struggle and fight for the entire team to continue to strive to play at this new standard. But it's good news, coach. Like at least now we know they have the capability to play that kind of game. Now it's a matter of everybody buying into it, and everybody playing their role. So I thought it was interesting. I like the fact that we have this new standard, and now we know they can do it, and now it's up to the guys to continuously and consistently meet that new standard.
Well said, Marco, about that, Mr. Nortap. I find the best picture I can get. I got a boat of Danny. He back from the barn, and I just hiding his Maple Leaf Toronto logo behind the Montreal Canadiens. So I figured out this very quickly about that.
Oh, that's amazing. Actually, that was very good, Marco. And this will actually be a bit of a segue to what you just said, but from a different perspective. Because while that new standard is in place, and while we realize what's happening with Montreal, and that is that we're not yet a playoff team, that much is clear. What is not clear, and that's why I called this the clear as mud, is the developmental aspects of certain players, systems, special teams that are going on. We still have question marks in those areas there. Now, one of the things we're seeing are, some development. Like the biggest question mark, I guess, has been around Slafkovsky most of it. But yesterday we saw that not only did he score the first goal, and it had nothing to do with the fact that he scored the goal. It's the fact that he was away from Anderson. And we saw the same thing happen with Gallagher starting to light up a little bit once he got away from Anderson and had Monahan there to sort of stabilize things. And for me, that's been the key thing. Like there's some areas that we say is somebody else. Like if we go on to, let's say, Matheson had a horrible game. Is it part of who he is right now, that inconsistency, or is it maybe he's playing with an injury right now? And if that's the case,
Super chat. We'll do it after you, Mr. Nortap. Mr.
yeah, and if that's the case, then we have to question the new medical team that we put in place, because he shouldn't be playing if he has some kind of injury to him. We look at things like Suzuki, and the fact that he's now starting to play a lot more team oriented, and he's playing a better defensive brand. He's moving forward. He's getting points. Um, we're going to see this up and down all year long. It's like I think we made reference to this before. It's like watching the stock market going up and down, up and down. The key is we want to see over a course of months, we want to see that eventually there is some kind of gain, net gain in all this. And it's not about making the playoffs. It's not about trying to organically tank and get the number one pick. It's about playing with pride for that CH that's on their jersey. And that's what Martin St. Louis wants. Within that attitude comes the whole issue of development. And I think we're moving in the right direction, but there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered along the way.
Well said, Mr. Antep, but we have to celebrate our first super shot of the night from Roger Delaney, so let's do it. Super chat, Roger Delaney. He did it again, Roger Delaney.
Roger the Master.
Thanks so much, Mr. Roger. Always a pleasure. Roger is a big, big, big supporter of the Hockey Nation Live show. So we want to thank him. We have a few people, guys, pick it up here, show up. We have Etienne Morin, welcome back. Nicholas is in the house. Luc Lafortune, l'ange gardien, notre ange gardien du show, il est avec nous ce soir. Roger Delaney. Then we have Joe Manella, I believe. I see Joe Manella somewhere. Joe Palota. It's well, they have Joe Manella and we have Joe Palota. And we lost Joseph Elham, but that's not a story for the time. And we have Jake McCanoe. We have the Jake is back in the house about that one over there. And I'm going to talk with Nicholas a bit later. My headline, guys, is young defense core. That show up during the game against the Blues. We are young when you're losing Savard right away, or if you're losing Madison right away. You have right now defensemen 21 years old, 21 years old, 22 years old. It's very difficult. One game, two game, but consistency with a big forechecker, forecheck like the St. Louis Blues did. The young core they did pop up this weekend. I'm going to show you a couple of goals happening against the Blues. But the good news behind that, we have a young core, so that's exactly what I have to talk about development, about that one there. And Marco talk about the new standard. You can see they try to find a good mix between defensemen. You see the good, the bad, the ugly Justin Barron this weekend. Same Mike Madison. Ooh. I know he's not young anymore, but he's still not. He played like a young. And how you call it the second year in hockey is like a sophomore, but they have a name.
Sophomore.
Yeah, they have a name for that one in hockey.
Sophomore jinx. The sophomore jinx.
I understand. A lot of people love Arbor. Okay, he played his role on the. If something happened on the ice, but hockey sense, hockey right now, he struggled on defensive zone coverage, first pass. You don't see the option many times, and then the bad penalty. In my opinion about that. He's not the only one. I'm not pointing only him about that. I can talk about Justin Barron. Last game, Kaden Coley struggled with Barron together. Kovacevic struggled with Madison this week. The last game, it was just everybody in defensive zone. But I'm going to show you the reason behind that after that. So on the flip side, you don't talk about Jordan Harris. Struggled too, like Arbor, play together. But you have an excuse here. He play on the right side. It's not easy for him. And you can see, guys, they take advantage of that. The entrance zone, it's more on that side versus the left side. They really go on that side many times. He get beat sometime around everything like that. But this is my headline of the day about the young defense core. But the future is coming anyway with Ray Baker and other defensemen with the Montreal Canadiens. And that's what conclude and complete all the headline we got on this show tonight. Thanks, everybody. Don't forget, guys, to click on the like. If you don't want, that'd be great. Maybe anybody want to add something there or about that, or we can move on to the next thing, Marco and Artap.
I don't know. There you go again, coach. I of course, like, yeah, the young defense core definitely did have its struggles, but I still strongly believe it's more of an effect of the options that the defensemen have. Like it's very easy to just say, it was the defenseman's fault, right? Like I really strongly believe it's the whole 5-man unit that was struggling. Like with a team like St. Louis, they were really really aggressive on the forecheck last night, and you could see that they just had no options. Like again, we've talked about it. There are times where like Jackeye and Harris are probably two of the worst I find at hesitating a little bit, before just either kind of skating it out or just dumping it out. I find they always like I like that they're looking for that extra play, but you just can't afford to do that in the NHL, right? Like you have to think fast. You have to almost know what you're going to do with the puck before it's on your stick. And with Harris, I find like sometimes he's overthinking it a little bit. He circles back, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's got two guys on him. He's not strong enough to win those board battles. So yes, that is the case, but I think it's even more than that. Again, it's
It's funny you
the
talk that way because I look all the goal, and it's not zone coverage. You're going to laugh at me, but it's not zone coverage. It's mistake an offensive zone, a mistake a neutral zone, and
turnovers. It's all turnovers. Last game was all turnovers.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a Byron. I can show you. It was not on defensive zone. When they come in defensive zone, they are behind and they don't look on the back door. I'm going. When we're going to talk about the game, I'll show the video about that. You're going to be.
but coach. So on that point, I watched your video this week about five like man on man coverage, and I know I've been harping on this over the last couple of weeks, right? But so I watched your video carefully, and I get like the examples that you showed in your video is exactly why I don't like man on man coverage, because what happens is as soon as like with man on man coverage, as soon as one man gets beat, then the whole system
It
breaks
falls
down.
apart.
And
Yeah.
that's why I think a lot of teams are moving away from man on man coverage to a hybrid model, right? You
So
stay in a
they
man on
move back. When you do that, yeah, yeah, it's a man to man, or you can go with box plus one. This is the only thing you can. One, you
Yeah.
lose the
Yeah.
man, right? If you cover the guy, you lose your man. But me and Artap, we have to come now with a box to cover the space to come to the net. That's the transformation. And sometimes the players are not aware yet. They don't get it yet right away. It's very
but
difficult.
that's not
It's not
the
easy. Like
system.
you said, if you lose your man, when I shoot a goal of Carolina Rangers, that's exactly happening
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Confusing between players.
But
Yeah.
Montreal they don't have that hybrid system. Like they're strictly a man
So
on man system from what I understand. They don't have a hybrid system,
yeah,
right?
and
I think
and
they need.
I agree with you, Marco, 100%. I think that's a very good analysis. What I'd like to ask the both of you, is that a personnel problem with the forwards, or is it a system problem with the coaches?
Well, it's a couple things, right? Like going back to last night's game, it was all like Coach said. It's all about turnovers, right? Like Newhook had a couple of really bad turnovers at the offensive blue line and again, there's a lot of forwards that just really, really like Barron. You could argue maybe there should have been a penalty on that power play where he kind of like went to the middle of the ice and he got a little bit hooked and then went for the breakaway for the winning goal, right? So turnovers at any like it's the classic thing. Coach will agree, I'm sure, is that any turnover at the blue line, whether it's your offensive blue line or your defensive blue line, are the most dangerous hockey, right? Because everybody's caught flat-footed, and it's the most dangerous place to turn over the puck. And I'm sure, Coach, if you go back and look at most of the goals came on turnovers like that. And then Martin Saint Louis has talked about this before, and what he's working on is learning the team needs to learn how to organize. It's not that they're not, and this is maybe where we've miscommunicated in the past about this, because when I say they're not organized in their zone or they're cheating, it's not that they're not, it's not like I'm saying that Suzuki before, and by the way, he has been playing, like Intertap said, Suzuki has been amazing, playing way more complete hockey. I'm very happy with how he's playing. But what I was talking about is it's not that they're not trying to get back. It's just they're not organized when they get in the zone, right? Like sometimes it's not just about skate. Sometimes, like St. Louis said, you have to slow down. It's not like sometimes if you skate too fast when you're back shading, you're going to skate past where you're supposed to be, right? So it's all about like if is a turnover or even on the rush, they need to become more organized. And I think a man-on-man system is just with a young team. I've been saying this since the beginning of the season. I just don't think it's the right recipe. You need a very experienced and high hockey IQ to play man-on-man because it's always going to break down. Somebody's going to get beat, especially with smaller
So do you,
forwards. With smaller
so do you
forwards, you're going
believe,
to.
Marco? Do you believe, Marco, that Martin St. Louis sticking to a man-to-man because he doesn't have confidence in the personnel that he has to play a zone? I would personally think that playing a zone is a little bit easier because you have certain responsibilities and you know where to be at the times. Whereas, as you said earlier, if one man gets beat and now has it causes a whole rotation of the players to cover each other's mistake. And that's a little bit harder to do. So is it maybe Martin St. Louis saying, I just don't have the players with the hockey IQ yet to pull off this type of a system?
I think St. Louis needs to take his own advice. One of his favorite sayings is you have to what does he always say? He says like you have to do what the game is asking you to do. That's one of his favorite things, right? Like it's kind of like that old Mike Tyson quote, right? Like you can have a plan that a plan is always perfect until you get punched in the face, kind of thing, right? So I love that
Mm.
quote. So his advice to players is he does what the game needs him to do. That's one of his favorite quotes. So I would apply that same thing. Like as a coach, he needs to build a system for the players that he currently has. Like he might have an ideal system of how he would want the team to play, but you have to build a system that is somewhat based on the personnel that you have, right? And because he does have overall kind of like smallish forwards that unfortunately lose a lot of like one-on-one battles right now, like Newhook to me is like a very disappointing in that regard, like losing a lot of one-on-one battles. I thought the first couple games he was very responsible and always on the right side of the puck, but recently I don't know if it's because he's cheating because he feels he needs to create offense, but I've been seeing that
It's the
he's a
fact
lot
that
of
he's at center.
yeah,
It's the
yeah, a
fact
lot
that
of
he's playing at center. It's a difficult position to play, and he seems to be much better suited on the wing, especially with his speed.
well, he played on the
Your
wing last night,
thoughts,
and,
coach?
and but he was losing a lot of those one-on-one battles on the boards. Like as a winger, you need that's your key job,
Yeah,
like is to
yeah.
get the puck out when you're on the wall, right? So I don't know, coach, what do you think?
What do you think,
But
coach?
because you guys you call it one a man to man, but it's not all man to man. Because a man to man, you're going to see Baron at the blue line. It's rare you see Baron at the blue line.
I
So
saw a whole bunch of times last game. I saw him. It's absolutely man on man, coach. Like the defensemen are going all the way up to the blue line sometimes.
it's a no not all the time. It's a box plus
It's a
one they
hybrid.
used to do about that's what they do box plus one, and sometimes they will have that man because the guy the winger if they go in the corner. Right, example, they have Jack Hughes in the corner. Kovacevic pick up him, and now Jack Hughes go up. Now Kovacevic is going to follow him over there. Now because it's a plus one, the four other players going to still stay on the box over there. This is the format of what you do usually. It look like a man to man, but it's not. It's a box plus one, and this is what they recommend right now. For me, it's not too much that way. You're going to see. Uh, you'll be surprised who struggled the most in the play and the zone coverage next couple of minutes. So we're going to move on for the game first of all, if you don't mind. So we'll go on that one. Honestly, it's only week we do a lot of show about Montreal Canadiens. So sometimes we talk about the game the night before, so everything like that. So tonight we're going to really focus on the weeks overall about the record, but we're going to focus on the game against the St. Louis Blues. They played 3 games, honestly, Monday night against Vegas, where they are maybe the best game for many months. I never see the Montreal Canadiens that way. that way again. The Vegas Golden Knights. Obviously, the last 3-2 in shootout. Then they hit the wall again. Arizona Coyotes. A lot of fans was expecting Montreal win that game. It was a back-to-back game for Arizona. They lost the game 4-3 again Anaheim, and we have a backup goaltender, Ingram, and Montreal was in Arizona for 3 days. Play golf, and they was expected to be ready to play golf against the Arizona Coyotes, but it was not happening. And then last night was a nightmare. I think that's concerned for me. That game with the one for Minnesota Wild, it was the two bad game of the season for the Montreal Canadiens, in my opinion. So that's happening during the week.
Again,
So
back
I
to
would
back.
like to hear from you in our top first, and then Marco about the recap game for the Montreal Canadiens against the St. Louis Blues. And by the way, meanwhile, the Chicago scored a goal with 3 minutes to go remaining, 3-2 now for the Devils. 39 shots, 69 shots on this game. Very
Yeah.
exciting game between both teams anyway.
All
So,
offense.
you can see,
Yeah,
guys, Montreal, by the way, after, excuse me, minus
yeah.
five on the goal differential this week. They gave 5 goals yesterday, 5 versus 5. This is rare happening. And the power play is 2-13, and the PK low at 2-7. So this is a recap of the Montreal Canadiens as a team. So sorry about that, Mr. Nartap.
No problem, Coach. I mean, I think the majority of us would have predicted a loss against Vegas, but as you said earlier, they did come out and they played probably their strongest game of the year. I think they took a lot of the ice away from Vegas. They weren't able to transition as much as they would like. There was some good goaltending on both ends in that game. I thought both teams were kept in it because of that. And in the end, you felt happy, you felt content because they at least came out with a point. I think they deserved a better fate, but given that they're the Stanley Cup champions, they have resilience and they know how to play the game in many different ways, and we saw that on the first game of the road trip. The other two games are the ones that are a bit more disappointing because not only were they back to back for their opposition, they also had their backup goalies in both games. So, they should have at the very least, come away with one of the two. I get it; it's hard once you're on the road and whatnot, but it's difficult when you have opportunities. I thought with Vegas, I was expecting that by the second and third period, we were going to see um, the Coyotes sort of come out a little bit slower because they had the tired legs, but it was almost the opposite. They came out stronger the second and especially the third period, and it seemed like Montreal was going in the opposite direction. So it was disappointing from that aspect. Yesterday, it was the turnovers, as we've mentioned numerous times already tonight. I didn't think the score was truly indicative. Like it was really 3-2 until they opened it up in the third period there. And a lot of that, again, I'm not going to blame obviously Montebo because it wasn't his fault. But one thing he has to learn to do better is to control rebounds. Once he makes that save, he cannot allow the opposition to. He can't rely on his defense to have to do the work for him.
Can I
Trap
open
that
the
puck.
door in our tap
Yeah,
for that one?
please
Just to give
go
you
ahead.
one tip right there. Uh, Montembeau, Marco, and our tap people in the chat. And the last 2 seasons, uh, he is the worst or the before the worst goaltender to give a goal and the and the
Danger.
slot in
Yeah.
front of the net, like a high danger scoring, I would say to you. So about approximately, where's the ash mark at the middle of the
Yeah.
ice, 5 feet up, right? That area. This is what he struggled a lot about that one. And if you remember, I think it was the second goal against the St. Louis Blues. He
Yeah.
got beat over the glove. It was a mistake. Montreal opened up the space over there,
Yeah.
and the guy scored
Robert
there.
Thomas.
It's hard to stop the puck. Marco in our tap, and I'm not blame Montembeau, but he need to he need to perform better or to be better at those shots like that. Does it make sense? Like he need to score,
Yeah, but
stop
there's
the puck more, maybe a 10% more. I don't know the approximately, but I think this is he struggle on that area. Sorry about that.
Robert,
Yeah,
Bring that.
there's a reason why they were in. He gives up the most high danger zone chances is because that rebound gets out and it gets out in that periphery, right? The other thing you notice is a lot of times he will drop down to his knees very quickly, and you notice a lot of goals go high up either on his glove side or stick side, and that's something that I think the goalie coach should try to address as well. He needs to get up on his feet a little bit more and not commit himself so quickly. But you're right. You give up enough opportunities in front of the net like that, and just off to the side at the hash mark, and good teams will make you pay for it.
Yeah, true about that, Mr. Marco.
yeah. So listen, like I think we covered it. Like the week started off strong, really, really solid effort against Vegas. Arizona, like I know I've been watching them, and I'm such a big Andre Tourigny fan. Like such a well coached team, really team on the rise. I was dreading that game just because I knew it was going to be really nasty for Slafkovsky. It's going to be a media firestorm for the days after that. I was expecting it, and it's exactly what happened. It was a tough slog. That game was such a well coached team, Arizona. I think Allen, like usual so far this season, kept it a bit closer than it should have been. I really didn't like a lot of their game there, to be honest. The St. Louis game, I agree with you, coach. Is that in the Minnesota game, I think was their worst game so far this year. I took some game notes. I started making a habit. I'm going to take notes after the game so I kind of remember what my thoughts are. So looking at my notes, we talked about just really poor execution. Saying we talked about it a lot in his press conference. A lot of passes like behind guys, just a lot of like they look discombobulated a lot of the game, and it's really hard to when you have a team like St. Louis that pressures so much like they do. That's probably why, right? Like they were definitely feeling the pressure, and you could tell. You guys have both mentioned it, but Matheson probably played one of his worst games. He was just, I don't know if Enertap, if you're onto something there, if he's playing with an injury, but I think it was that No, it was that goal from can't remember, but the third goal.
The the ill-advised pinch that he made, is that the
No,
play you're
it was
referring to?
no, it was in the defensive zone. Like he got turned around like he was like a like just like a he was just kind of like sitting there, and like he was poking with a stick, and the guy just went right around him, and it was like a passing play that was pretty easy. So yeah, but he some bad judgment calls. He's been falling a lot, so definitely he hasn't been on top of his game. Interesting thing I noticed is in the third period, St. Louis wasn't liking the Kovacevic and Goulet pairing anymore, and he switched that up in the third period, put Harris up there. That didn't go nearly as well either. Having Goulet with Harris didn't really, or sorry, it was Matheson with Harris. I think he switched up that pairing. That didn't really work out well. So, but looking at the positives, I really wanted to, Coach, I don't know if you have some time for us to talk about Slafkovsky, so I'll take this opportunity to.
Yeah, that no, will be then.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I won't.
Just before you get to that, I just wanted to throw one more thing that, and going back to Matheson, like I'm pretty certain from what I'm seeing that maybe he is playing with an injury. If that's not the case, could his decay in play be due to the fact that Savard is not there? Because coincidentally, that's what's happened. Like he seems to rely on Savard to cover up a lot of things for him defensively, and that allows him to jump into the play a little bit more. I don't know if it's that, or if it's the it looks like a leg, some type of leg injury to me, or it could be a combination of the two. What do you guys think?
It could be like, yeah, it could be like for sure. I have noticed that he hasn't been as steady on his feet, but to me, the thing that's clear, because I think this predates Savard's injury, right? Like I don't think he's had a strong even beginning to the season when Savard was there, to be honest. So maybe it's just adding the Ada sweater. Like, does he feel like, is he trying to do more than than he should already? Like we already know that he's playing too many minutes. and his minutes haven't really gone. They've brought down his minutes a little bit since he did get injured. I think just because they have to, because he was sometimes at like 27, 28 minutes a game. So maybe he's just trying too much. Like, the old adage, guys, is, sometimes
Keep
when
it
when
simple.
when you're trying to do too much, you do less a lot more effectively. So some other things from that game, though. So, I think everybody was excited to see Slav on the first line. I'm excited to talk more about what I saw with Slafkovsky if we have the opportunity later. But, really strong week from Galley. Again, I think that's one of the feel good stories of the season so far, is I think we're all rooting for him. I think some of us on here were saying, what, let's give him 10 days. Hopefully he can get his feet under him. And I think we're all happy to see that he's contributing again. Let's just cross our fingers that he can stay healthy, and we're all pulling for him and hope that he can continue to play that way. One thing I noticed again is the turnovers, right? And I just wanted to talk a little bit about Newhook. Entertap, earlier you were saying about how there's a coincidence maybe about Slafkovsky having a better game and being away from Anderson. Well, you can probably say the same thing about Newhook too, right? Like, I think being on Newhook's line isn't really a huge plus right now either. I think those guys, I like the idea of containing those guys together so they can kind of figure it out as a unit rather than having them kind of like infect other players. Last thing I'll mention is, good return for Dvorak. Like, I know he's probably shaking off the rust, but what is happy to see about Dvorak is that his skating looked really good. Like, he looked, doesn't look like he's lost a step. Like, after pretty important knee surgery, you're kind of curious as to see what the guy's going to look like out there. But I felt overall his skating looked pretty fluid. He looked pretty mobile out there. So good sign for Dvorak. It adds such a different dimension, especially not having Doc, having Dvorak in that third hole. Maybe after he gets 4 to 5 games, I think, will really have a good impact on the team. And certainly, if not in terms of what's going to happen with the team, maybe a trade piece later at the trade deadline as well, too, if he can kind of pull it together. So disappointing
And
week,
you're also gaining another good player on faceoffs.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because Newhook was not doing it. Yeah,
no.
Well done about that. For me, I would just I don't want to comment, but I will show to you the goal again. The Montreal Canadiens will give you an idea why they lost game and why they need to be better, and that will conclude what you're just talking about: who is good, who is not bad, everything like that. They are not like the goal number 1, number 2, number 3. But here, I want to pay attention here. Look about this. Pearson behind. He never followed the guys over there. So this is why they struggle. It's a face-off at the blue line here. Yeah, no danger there. It's a normal thing. Scantella right now give the puck. Now the Montreal open up the store. Monen stuck over there. But now Pearson right here. Everybody right now looking for the guy with the puck. He passed on the key route. But Pearson, he did not look about the guy behind him right there. And now he flat. He is really flat too late. Goal right there. This is happening about that goal over there. The next one is I'm sorry about that. Is this one over there? At the blue line, Justin Barron. Do we have a tripping or not? I'm not sure about that, but this is a goal number 2 over there, and the top shell, a very good shot, by the way, by the players about this one. Let's move on this one. We have 2 players right there. This is Newhook. I think that's what Marco talk about this. Newhook, he should look the picture in front of him. He should see right now, oh, I'm a defenseman right now. I cannot play with a puck. Now he struggled with the puck on the back ends. He played softly, I believe, and he loses that puck over there. Now it turned around to be a 2-1. Barron is too late. And again, on that one over there, a backdoor. Montebo cannot do anything about that one over there. That would be that one. Not this one. This is this one. We see this one there. Here you go. See the guy fall apart in the corner? We have 2 players right there. Madison, I'm going to go slowly right there. See the guy here right there? I think it's Gallagher. That's 1 and 2 players right there. Every player should take a picture in front of you right there. Now you move up. Now we have 3 players right there. Now the F3 Montreal Canadiens is Gallagher. At the bottom we have Monahan, I think, or Pearson, whatever it is. And then Madison play with the puck. He should know that already. Wait a minute. If I turn the puck, we maybe be into trouble because all my players in front of me. And he play again, try to go around, lose the puck, and open up right there, a breakaway, and you have a rebound here. That's not over yet. See Gallagher, look the picture right there. See Madison, look the picture. You see now Kovacevic, look at the picture right there. We cover everything. But look the big circle over there. Gallagher again, like Pearson, the goal before that. Forgot his man. Really great pass on the back door. A goal again. This is what a problem we got right now for the Montreal Canadiens on that one over there. Sorry about that. I'm bring here. But that would bring you guys to my other comments here, if I can find it. I don't know if I can get it about that. But which line gave the most goal for the Montreal Canadiens?
The Monahan line last night, yeah.
Come on. Yeah.
It's Monahan. So they have the worst score, C4 point or goal, X goal for, right? The chance to give a goal is Monahan and Pearson and Gallagher. So they score a lot, but they give more. So they are -3, I believe.
Last game for sure.
So,
but like, so on that first goal, coach, like, so yeah, for sure. So you saw that Pearson lost his guy. Gallagher was on the wrong side of the puck in the neutral zone. Actually, pretty much, other than the two defensemen who were on the right side of the puck, everybody was on the wrong side of the puck, meaning that they were anticipating offense when there wasn't puck control yet, right? So that's what you don't want. Like you're not going to you're not going to win hockey games when you're anticipating offense when you don't have puck possession yet, right? So, but Matheson as well too, right? Like if you show that first goal again, like he completely is just poking and hoping, right? Like not playing the man at all. So I think it's in line with kind of what we mentioned. Like Matheson had a really, really tough time. Good point though about Gallagher missing that coverage, and Pearson missing that coverage for sure. I still don't see, going back to your comments about the D-core, like that proves my point, right? Like that's not just a young D, like that's full 5-on-5 breakdown, people not being organized when they're either defending the rush or when they're defending in zone. It proves my point that it's not just about the young decor. It's very easy to just blame, like we're not going to face the hard questions and come up with solutions if we go with the easy answer. Oh, it's okay that we're going to give up bad chances because we have a young defense. No, that doesn't have to be true. It's really about the 5-man unit. And, Gallagher, I think I loved his press conferences this week. Like you can tell that he wasn't happy with his game. And, like my headline said, right, like they set a new standard. St. Louis talked about it very openly in his press conference last game. Is he talked about being too risky, right? And that's what it is. Like, in Vegas, like the way that St. Louis talks about it is very smart. When you're playing a team that takes more risks, then you can take more risks. But when you're playing a team like Vegas that is doing everything correctly, then you have to do everything correctly and wait for your opportunities, right? So it's like Martin St. Louis says all the time, you have to do what the game asks you to do. And in a game like they're playing against St. Louis, even though they haven't had a strong season so far, they just came off a win. They were playing very aggressive. They were on top of the puck. And Montreal was taking too many risks, like trying to create things that weren't there, right? So they need to kind of go back, look at the winning blueprint, or at least what will be a winning blueprint, like they played against Vegas. And it's like we've been saying, man, it's not going to be sexy. Sometimes they're not going to win the games, but this year is all about learning how to play the right way. I know it sounds like a broken record, but that's what it's all about.
Just building on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said, everybody. And move on now for the next thing we want to talk about. Hot players who stood out of the week and maybe also need a change. So who players stood out for the week for everybody in the chat and Marco and Artap for the Montreal, and then we're going to move on for that. Who need a change for the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, there were a couple of my eyes that stood out, but I think I'm going to go with. One was Suzuki, but the other one I'm going to go with right now is Gallagher. I thought he brought with his improved health, he's bringing that same intensity that he always has brought. It looks like he's accepted so far the more limited role that he's been assigned, and he's doing the right things. Like he's going to the net and looking for that puck to get those dirty goals. And I mean, the other night when he scored, it was on a nice shot that he got off of a quick pass, which was nice to see. But it's generally speaking, it's not the type of goal he usually gets. It's more when he's just in front of the net and disturbing, the defense and the goaltender and obscuring the vision of the goalie. So, I mean, those are the key things he needs to do, especially in that role of being on that particular line, because we're not. I don't think we're looking for him to get to the 30 goal mark again. It would be nice if he ever did, but realistically, I don't think it's a possibility. But you know what? If he can get close to 20, that would be absolutely fantastic from him, especially, like I said, with a reduced role on the team now. So for me, he stood out because he had I'd say 3 good games now, and it's good to see. As long as he stays hot and stays healthy, I think it'll benefit Montreal.
Good stuff, man. Agree. Listen, I've been pretty hard on him at the beginning of the season, so I know it's an obvious choice, but I have to go with Suzuki because I really want to. I
That's
really
why I
want
love
to kind
it
of
for you.
really reward him. No, and listen, like I've said along, it's not that I'm not a Suzuki fan. I
Yeah,
know I knew that he could play. Like we saw him in the 2021 playoffs in the finals. Like he knows how to play this way, guys. I don't know what it is. All last year, to be honest, I didn't see a lot of it from him last year about this kind of play. So I really like what I've seen the last couple of games from him. Like I said, I would much rather a Suzuki that gets you 65 points, but is a plus player, rather than a player who gets 80 points and is a minus player
yeah,
on a losing team, right? So that's
absolutely.
this is the kind of Suzuki that we're going to need to see. Even though you're going to have Toronto fans saying, "Oh, Montreal doesn't have a 90-point, 100-point center. They don't have elite players." I don't care. Are we going to win games? Are we going to win championships? That's what I care about. So if Suzuki keeps playing like this, you have a healthy Doc, and you continue to kind of see who's going to come up in the prospect pool. This is how we're going to win games, guys. A Suzuki that plays both sides of the puck is still creative, still get points, still kind of is there for the big games. Really, really happy to see him turn it around, and I'm really inspired by how he's played in the last little while. Honorable mention, second week in a row. I think my player last week was Justin Barron. I think he had a really nice week again. Like, he's of course he's playing beyond where he should be in the lineup. But even just, I know he didn't score 2 goals or whatever this week. But like to be like, is it weird for me to say that out of all the decor, he looked like the most steady? That's I don't know if that's probably not a good
Yeah.
sign, but he broke up some like 2-on-1 plays. He's still not like a physical guy, but overall, I think Justin Barron had a really solid week within the system. Even though they didn't really have a lot of good games this week, but honorable mention to Justin Barron again. I just really like kind of where his game is going. It's a really important player for us, right? Like that was a pretty big transaction, for Lehkonen. So I'm happy to see the progress with Justin Barron. As far as who needs a change, coach, if we can jump into that, I mentioned it earlier. Like, I'm a little concerned about Newhook at this point. Like, I can see like a lot of players or a lot of people, when we acquired him, were like, oh, he never really got a chance in Colorado. But if you watch some of the Colorado games and you look at it, he did have a chance in Colorado. There was a lot of injuries there last year, and unfortunately, he didn't really take the opportunities that were given to him. So, listen, I was trying to have an open mind. I still think he has a lot of good assets. Like his speed is really impressive. I think he does have a lot of skill, but I think one of the things that I don't like is that he loses a lot of battles on the boards. I saw a little less of that at the beginning of the season. Like I felt he was actually winning some of those battles, was on the right side of the puck. So similar to what we saw with Suzuki, I'd like to see him really commit to playing the right way a little bit here. Um, and the points will come, right? Like St. Louis says all the time, right? Like the moment that you lose the puck is when you're playing defense, so you can win it back and go play on offense. So I'd like him to kind of have that in mind. I like the promise of this line with Dvorak and with Newhook and with Anderson. Like I think that's a nice mix as a third line. I think that's like go back in the NHL, guys. Try to find me a third line that has like I think that's a pretty solid NHL third line. To be honest, like
Yeah.
Dvorak, Newhook, and Anderson. I think most NHL teams would be pretty happy to have a third line like that. So if that can play out and they can find some chemistry, I think that would be a good mix.
Yeah, great point.
Well,
Luciano talk about Alex Newhook. We'll talk about him the next couple of minutes. Mr. Arta, do you see who need a change or?
I was looking at again. I was very interested in looking at the defensemen this whole road trip and looking at the time that they spent on the ice. And I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. Like I know with Harris playing on his offside, it's a little bit more difficult to get a sort of acclimatized to it. And it's unfortunate because what do you do? Like you don't have that right-handed defenseman to step in and make the proper adjustment and put him back on the left side.
Wow. Leonard Tap, you sent him to
Sorry.
Laval. You sent Lidstrom to Laval. He's a right-handed NHL defenseman. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
but who do you take off is the issue, right? If you bring up Lidstrom, that's
yeah,
you're probably sacrificing a slightly better defenseman just to have him play on the right side. That's my only
yeah.
concern with that. Like it's a no-brainer when we get some of our true right-handed defensemen eventually coming up, because not only will they be hopefully good, but they'll be playing on their natural side, and I think things will balance themselves out a lot better. So I don't have a specific player that I would say there's a change, but again, it's just finding the right pairings of defensemen, because right now with the Savard injury, it kind of throws things a little bit sort of out of whack for all five of the other defensemen that or
Too many,
six actually.
too
Yeah,
many left-handed guys.
exactly. Yeah.
All right. Start of the week, I'm going to surprise a little bit, but I don't know who happened again this year. But Brendan Gallagher this week, I think overall, yeah, 2 of the 3 games he did pretty good. The effort is there, drive to net is the Brendan Gallagher we know in the past. He's not like lost until, of course, that line score again. And then, honestly, it was between the pipe, only 1 game, but Jake Allen gave everything for the Montreal could at least get a point, maybe 2 against Arizona Coyotes. Unfortunately, he did not get the offensive side of the game for the Montreal to give him that point. I think he keep the Montreal and the game all the week this week. So, but great performance Monday, but yesterday overall. So I would go with Jake Allen and this. Need a chance at Josh Anderson. And that would bring me the next point here. I don't know if it's the next point about this, or maybe it's not him about that. So I think here we go. Let's move on. That one, then we're going to Josh about that. I know Josh Anderson does not work. Um, and I want to share it with you because on the X Gold 4 is behind Gallagher. Gallagher is a better chance to score a goal. It was Gallagher. He's at 2.91. I think Anderson at 2.41, and then Caulfield is at 2.3. There are only 3 players over. Then RHP at 1.8. X Gold 4 guy is the how many opposite you have to score a goal. This is the X Gold 4. And unfortunately, Anderson have 0 goal this year, 1 assist. I got the stat from Inarta a couple of minutes ago, but every line Anderson play, the number analytic drop 90% all the time. And the only one he better at other line is when he play with Caulfield Ski, and the reason because Ski Caulfield score goal, they have more point over otherwise. Anderson right now does not bring a lot for the Montreal Canadiens that way. it's what, 18 months or 19 months with Saint Louis. In my opinion, the Josh Anderson does not fit in the system of Martin Saint Louis. Whatever he will try to modify him, whatever he do, it does not fit. Carry on a $5.5 million, and now more they wait. Sometimes you have to trade the player at the right time. So my question to
Yes.
you, it would be: do you keep or not Josh Anderson? Do you feel like the guy can score 28, 25 goals? Um, but the way he play right now, he's not a top six, first of all, and Montreal have not. There are not many top six. That's the reason he played top six. But I'm very concerned about Josh Anderson. This is my poll question, and it's out now today or tonight. Is about what you do with Josh Anderson. Do you trade him at trade deadline? Do you keep him? Do you trade off summer 2024, or do you trade him in 2025? So I just want sharing this. You have 1 minute each,
ASAP.
2 minutes each, and let's go, Marco, if you don't mind.
ASAP. Yeah.
Well, so a couple things here. So I think he legitimately had a good first 3 to 4 games. I really liked his first 3, 4 games. Like he was a lot more visible out there, a lot more involved, being physical. Really, the last 3 games, he's been really problematic. Um, how he's still in the first power play unit to me is baffling. You can see like the first power play unit is, especially last game, right? Like the second unit was creating a lot more than the first one, and I find a lot of the plays, they go to his stick and they die, on the power play or 5-on-5. To be honest, right? I've been, pretty consistent with my thoughts on Josh Anderson. He is a robot, right? Like he's a limited piece of hardware that can only, facilitate 1 or 2 different programs. And if you try, you can't upgrade Josh Anderson, right? Like to something more, because he's good at what he does, but he's not able to do more advanced things. He's like an old flip phone from Motorola in the 1990s. If you try to install, Facebook on the phone, it's going to slow down. It's going to, you know what I mean? So that's, to me, that's what Josh Anderson is. Now, that being said, we're seeing the very worst of Josh Anderson right now. So if we know anything about Hughes so far, is that he doesn't trade from a point of weakness, right? He said it right when he came here. I want to sell high and buy low, which is what he did with Newhook and with Doc. He bought low, and he tries to sell high, like with Hoffman and other guys. Sometimes it never got high, but he had to make that move. So with Anderson, I think I would be surprised that they like move him in the next couple weeks while his value is at the absolute lowest. They're going to let him come back. They just need to find a role for him where he can actually succeed. First unit power play in the bumper position is not where he should be. He does, like, you need a really smart hockey player to play the bumper on a first unit power play. And like I said, like often, Suzuki's the one that's
I have
carrying
that.
doing the entry. He's doing the entry on the power play, and he's the one that's getting the puck in the entry, and the puck just boom dies on his stick right away, right? So that's not working. So am I concerned with Anderson in the last 3 games? Absolutely. The first 4 games of the season, he was getting tons of chances, and stuff like that. Now, does he complement or is he contributing to 5-on-5 play? Does he make other players around him better? No, you're right. Like the line probably overall doesn't perform as well with him on the ice, but individually, he can still break out and make like an incredible play, like break down the wing, put his shoulder down, drive to the net, and get a scoring chance, right? So that's who he is. So you need to put him on a line where he can do that and not really hurt the team, build up his value again, and then at some point try to move him. That would be my strategy.
Well said.
Yeah, I've been saying it for over a year, and I know a lot of times the retort on it has been, but he's a unicorn type of player, which I do believe he is in terms of when it comes to power forward and what he can offer a team that lacks size, uh, physicality, and let's face it, he does have a good touch around the net. Like if he gets that puck towards the net, like he's got a good quick release, and more times than not he's scoring. But the problem is he's very unidimensional. He's up and down. I think they've tried to sort of vary his play a little bit and coach him in terms of, try this aspect, try to cut across more often. And, to his credit, he tried it a few times, and when he saw it wasn't meeting up with success, he resorts back to, memory rote and does what he feels he can do best. Unfortunately, it's something that, because of his inconsistency, if he's not on, he's not only looking bad himself, but he's not making anybody around him any better. And if anything, he's making them worse because they have no idea what he's going to be doing out there, and
He's the king of one.
it's difficult.
He's the king of one and done, right? Like, like he's
Yeah,
a guy that will basically kind of like go down and fire the puck. Either it's going to go in or it's going to ring around the
right.
glass and go the other way, right? So you're not building a
And
cycle with him.
and I think I think that there would be interest for him without a doubt. We saw that last year, and we'll see it again this year. But I agree with you, Marco. Right now is not the best time to do it. Just wait, hopefully around trade deadline time, and at that point, you're going to have to make a decision. If you're Hughes, if you have to obviously take back a little bit of the contract to help encourage, or
Mm,
you might have to
no,
throw in a piece with him if
no,
that's the case. I know he doesn't like to do that, but
yeah.
as we said, he doesn't have a place moving forward on this organization. Maybe with another organization where he can be put with two other wingers, or a centerman and a winger that are a little bit more responsible. He's allowed to roam that way, and it won't hurt the team, and it could benefit them because of what he does have to bring to the table.
And
So
that's it. Like,
I think at
he's not
some,
really
yeah,
responsible. He's not really responsible defensively either, right? Like, if you have a guy
no, no,
that's if he's not contributing, offensively, and at least he's not going to hurt you on the ice. But so that's Anderson to me is the perfect example of what we were talking about with Saint Louis about how when they back check and when they're defending the rush and they need to get organized in their zone, Anderson is the perfect poster boy of how not to do it. He's fast enough to get back to the defensive zone, but he gets there before everyone. But then, like, he's just like a pylon. He doesn't really do anything. Like he just doesn't read the play very well, and often, he's just kind of like waving his stick around and not really taking someone reading a play defensively to get the puck back. Right. So the hockey IQ works both ways on the offensive side of the puck and on the defensive side
yeah,
of the puck.
on the defensive,
Unfortunately.
exactly, exactly.
Just make a trade. I send Cole
Let's
Caulfield,
do it.
Caden Coley, first round pick, Joshua Roy for Leon Tresado.
There you go. Yikes. Sorry. Okay, so Caulfield first round and Cooley for Draisaitl. How many years does Draisaitl have left on his
Just
contract? Only
Joshua
one.
Roy, Joshua Roy.
And Joshua. And how many years does Draisaitl have? Just one.
One more year after that. Yeah.
No, thank you. I want
No,
somebody
it's
with a
because
little.
Mark talked about the trade. He sent Anderson Madison to first round pick. I said, no, it's not good enough. You have to
No.
send a minimum Caulfield to be the scorer Tresado is. You have to be a spot there. You have a problem at the defenseman. You send a young defenseman, 21 years old, 22 years old, Caden Coley, that will fix them a long term. And then you get a first round pick, Montreal pick at the top 10. And then after that, you get Joshua, who could be a top 9 for them a long term. And
Yeah.
the Dogs just tied the game at 2-2.
I
Wow,
don't think. Yeah, I think Ken
that's
Holland.
too much.
Ken Holland. Yeah, well, not only that, Ken Holland needs to win now, right? Like he's not trading for futures or for young players. Like he's looking to win now, right? So there's no way that Edmonton would ever
No,
do
I
that.
will just make just to give to Mark, like if you want to pay Leon Trasado, this
Hypothetically,
is a trade you need to pick and return. If not, they're not going to trade Leon Trasado. They will ask her for the moon and return. By the way, you talk about Josh Anderson, Nicholas talk in the chat, everything like that. A guy like Josh Anderson, he can play with Minnesota with Erickson, AK, and Foligno. Example. This is the
Yeah,
kind of line he
that was
will
my point.
performing so good. That line over there. So you look at a line like that level
Calgary,
fit.
would be a good fit for Calgary. Calgary would be a good fit.
You know what I mean? Calgary, they don't have behind that
What?
like Minnesota.
He doesn't have the complementary players in Calgary to
Yeah,
go with that. I think that's what you're
yeah.
indicating, which I would tend to agree when it comes to Calgary. Yeah.
About that one there. And that's what concludes Josh Anderson, guys. But we are back now. We're supposed to talk about this. We have about 12 minutes. Maybe we'll go to a little bit more further. Finally, Slafkovsky first line. It's happening. The dream of all the Montreal Canadiens fans for the last couple of days. He's missing on the second unit number 2. But let's talk about Juraj Slafkovsky, and then I'm going to show to you guys a couple of videos about Slafkovsky after that. So let's start here with Marco because he's excited talking about him.
Yeah, well, so from some of us, Coach, we've been excited about this not just for the last couple of days, but I wanted to see this for since the beginning of the season, to be honest. But so very excited to see this. I think I mentioned this in the chat. Like I went back and I watched a lot of his games in the World Championship and the Olympics in his draft year, and I kind of like came up with a new theory about kind of what he needs to be successful. A lot of people have been asking, like, what is Slafkovsky's skill? Like, every elite player has like one thing at least that he's very good at. Like, is he a good skater? Is he a good shooter? What is Slafkovsky's superpower? His superpower is creative plays down low. That's what he's going to be good at. Using his size to make creative plays underneath the hash marks, right? He's not going to be ever like, I'm not saying he's never going to make good rush plays, but he's never going to be a guy that creates off the rush as much. Now, as he adds that to his game, he'll become even more dangerous. But the biggest skill that he has is using his size to create great offensive plays with other good players down low around the net. So how did he score his first goal, Coach? It was a give and go play with Newhook on the second unit power play where it was down low off a cycle, right? It wasn't off a one-timer. It wasn't off like deking everybody in the neutral zone off the rush. Here we see it here. Nice give and go play with Newhook. This is how Slafkovsky is going to be in the NHL. This is going to be his bread and butter. Not only just scoring goals, but bouncing off guys in the corner, being able, he makes very creative cross-ice passes. He has very good vision, finding people on the other side of the net. That's where he's going to be good. So I think he has a lot more chance at being successful with these cycle plays. We know Caulfield is not a very good cycle player because he's just not strong enough to win board battles. But Suzuki is a very strong cycle player, right? Like you saw it a couple times, other than the goal, which he wasn't even on the ice with Suzuki and Caulfield for because he's on the second unit power play. But later during the game, you could see like there's the beginning of some chemistry there happening with Suzuki and him being able to cycle, and then Caulfield being able to find open spaces where he can shoot. I think Slafkovsky was drafted to play with these guys.
Yes,
that's what he was drafted for, right? So I'm very excited that I'm seeing that. The only thing, the thing that also, like if you look at that power play goal, where was he when he scored that goal? He was underneath the hash marks in that give and go play. Why are they playing him on the point on the second unit power play? It's not his strength. Slafkovsky.
Okay.
They play him. He's playing. No, I know on this goal here. Where did he score?
No, it's right here. So here's his problem, Marco. He had the puck over there, right? So he fumbled with the puck. Like I scream at the TV. Well, at TV, you guys fired that puck. He does not fire the puck. Now he's going to do what? Look, he's looking now. You see the space he has right now from him to the dots right there?
Yeah.
He can shoot. Yeah. He's 239 pounds, whatever it is, right? Why not to do a one-timer shot right there? And what not to put everything right there? He had nobody to block the shot right now. He could do that side decision-making right there. He does not. Again, he's second-gleam twice. He's looking for option. Yeah, Newhook You have the guy at the bottom, at the I think it's Pearson, and they have Barron at the top. Return the puck. What he does, easy, easy. He what confidence right there, miss confidence. So I'm going to do the easy pass over there. Now Barron get a puck, return to Slafkovsky. Now Slafkovsky have the guy in front of him, and now he's do what? I'm going backwards. Oh, look the space I have. Did you see the space he have? If he skate forward, that now it's other team have to take a decision. What I'm doing? Do I go on him? Do I let him go in? What I'm doing? No. What he does? Pass to the goal line. Here we go. It's not over yet.
That's for sure,
Now,
coach.
can you see that one over there? Look, Marco, here. Do you see the space Slafkovsky is right now? Why not to come in here slowly and find the dots, get a pass, and rim the puck hard on the net? Look what he does. Now he's right there. Too late because everybody's set up over there. This is a kind of mistake Slafkovsky does. Sorry about that. It was just a good point about what you just talking
I'm so glad, Coach. I'm so glad you showed that because you're proving exactly my point. That's exactly what I said before you said that. Why are they playing him up there? We've seen it all year. It's not what his aptitude is. Like you were saying, what like the play down low, like the goal that he scored, he was already down low. That's where he needs to be. He's not a half wall kind of guy. Suzuki is a half wall kind of guy. Like you want a creative guy that can kind of control the play and all that. He can make quick, creative plays around the net and use his strength better underneath the hash marks. So that's what that was my question that I started off
great
with.
point about this, Marco.
And
Think about this, Marco,
that's
before you go after that. Does it look like more like Kucherov or he looks like more Killorn?
Exact. Well, he looks more like
yeah.
a Holmstrom, right? Like a more of a Holmstrom kind of player, right? Like
My point, like Killorn play at the goal line, right? And Kucherov play on the wall. And he's not Kucherov at all. Like he's not Tresalo the wall. So you're absolutely right when you I just want to bring you a point about that. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
And part of that is also the fact that he's playing on that second power play unit, as we saw there. So you saw who was in the middle, and that was Gallagher, who's not a bad choice because he does scoop up a lot of rebounds and put them on net. But that's also a position that he could occupy. And with his size, I mean, he's a great obstacle in front of the net for the goalie to see through. And he's the kind of guy that if he gets it in front of the net like that, he's going to put it in. And the other thing, it's all confidence. You were asking, why doesn't he shoot here? Why doesn't he move in a little bit here? Because his first thought right now is, where do I pass? Where do I make this good pass? Instead of sort of introducing himself into the play and saying, hey, I have an opportunity here as well. Why don't I try to score?
Yeah. But it's so all this to say, guys, like it's not a shock to me that, even though the goal he scored wasn't 5-on-5 with Slafkovsky and Suzuki, it's not a shock to me that he struggled after Doc got injured because Newhook and Anderson are both guys that create off the rush. Slafkovsky is not somebody that thrives off the rush. He thrives when you're cycling down low, you're creating, passes. And coach, like your response to me was like, well, that's not a skill. Cycling is not a skill. Yes, it is a skill. To be able to create off the cycle, it is absolutely a skill. Like I'm not just talking about being a grinder, right? Like being a grinder is being able to go in, sacrifice your body, kill time. I'm not asking him he's going to be like an elite grinder, right? But where he's going to create offense and like what people don't understand is that creative offensive plays don't always have to be tic-tac-toe on the rush plays. There's a lot of creative plays that happen off the cycle, off broken plays and things like that. And I think that's where he's going to be a special player. And guess what, guys? During the playoffs, that's where most of the goals are scored, not off the rush, off the cycle. So for those of us comparing Logan Cooley to Slafkovsky today, it's probably not a fair comparison. But do I like Logan Cooley? Yes. Am I a little bit nervous about that whole situation? Yes. But I still think, we have a good player in Slafkovsky if we use him the right way. And I think they still need to change.
Yeah.
I don't like you're using him on the power play right now.
The thing I would say to you,
Not at
when
all.
he put him back at the left winger and Anderson right, this is where he got messed up after that. He is a guy can play more on the right wing at the left wing.
Yeah.
right? The second thing I would say to you when you said it's not a guy who carry on the pocket can go all the way. So he's a guy who was just
No.
he was just swimming on the ice from the board, get a pocket, drive to the net. Exactly what you said. What I
But
just said, example, he need to drive to the net. He need to attack the net more and not holding. This is the why he struggled on the power play. That's the reason why he does not play on power play number one. That's the reason why he's not there on the power play number one because he's not fit very well about that. And that I think that's a problem they have, Marco, about that one there. I think for me, when you think about this
I
guy,
don't know. I would disagree with that, Coach. Sorry.
for what?
Go ahead. Uh,
Well,
about him not being the right player on first power play unit. I don't think that when you look at Caulfield, he's
because
not
he's
very
not a
good at
bumper.
trying to.
Because he's not a bumper. That's it.
I
Yeah,
would
but
have him like
Suzuki
I
could
would
be.
have him I would have him underneath, like I would have him at the goal line. I don't think he's a bumper
Yeah,
player. I want him at the goal line.
I don't want to remove Monahan. The Monahan is the best player can play the goal line for the Montreal. He had the best vision, and right now Sakowski's vision is limited. I will not.
But
That's
it
the reason he
is.
does
It
not play
is.
on power play one. He's not no confidence right now. He does not make play at all. That's the
but
see.
coach,
But he
I
can
just
dig
saw
out the
that
puck.
vision. Look what he does right now. Why he pass the puck to Barron? Right now, it's a
because
diamond. It's a diamond right now. He see right now, Darren cannot do anything about the puck. Yeah, but it's just anticipate, read the play. He does the easy pass over there. This is the
I
problem
think
he has all the time. And that's the
so
reason for me
it's
he
hard.
struggled about that. Another reason I would said what Martin Louis struggle. Look who is on the left side. Alex Newhook is a left winger on the wrong side again. This is what Montreal struggled. They use the players on the wrong side about that. I understand you hook. He tried to be ski on the board. He passed the puck a lot, but he had no firepower shot to the net. And Adam Ducks, I believe, scored a goal, guys, 3-2. Maybe they will give the first last of the Vegas golden night at 3:40
Wow,
to go.
crazy. I
Sorry
agree,
about that.
coach. Like you know, I
Well,
see where I disagree a little bit. Like it's hard to argue that Monahan is not the most creative guy to play at the goal line right now. But is Monahan going to be the solution in 2 years from now? Like, I'd like to see Slafkovsky there. I think you're underestimating his creativity. I think with more touches in that spot, like right now, every time you put him on that half wall, you're decreasing his confidence because that's not how he sees the game. He sees the game better
no,
down low.
he should be in the middle. You got Caulfield and you have Suzuki on the sides on the power play. And you have Monahan, who's probably the most intelligent, that is able to easily release the puck, or he can make the bumper pass right in front of Slafkovsky. That's exactly what you want. You want an imposing figure in front of that goalie. Now, when you look at that diamond play that we were just looking at, that wasn't so much Slafkovsky's fault as it is a system fault. If somebody's playing you a 1-2-1, a diamond, then you can't have one player at the point. You need to have two players on the blue line and create and look for the gaps in the lanes as they open up off of the sides. And that's a system problem to me.
Well, that's because he take the easy spot in our tap. Why
Yeah,
not to fire the puck? Why not? Why
but
not
they
fire the
should.
puck?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. But I'm saying, at that particular time, he's looking to make that pass. That's the confident aspect that I was talking about before.
And
That I think
it's
will
not
come
in
with
his
time.
DNA. It's not in his DNA, coach. Like I know a lot of people think in their minds because he was the leading goal scorer in the Olympics that he's going to be a sniper. He's not a sniper. He's like
No,
yes, he
he's not.
scored that
Marco,
one
he's
time
not a
goal.
sniper. What kind of goal he can get? Like Gallagher and goal. First
Yeah,
of all, pick a
a
Gallagher
man in
goal in
front
front
of
of the
the
net. He
net.
pick up the puck in front of the net. That's the only thing we got from Sadovsky. We're in trouble. If
Well,
Sarkowski
no,
cannot have the puck like
coach,
Rantanen shot,
coach,
we have a trouble right now with
coach.
Sarkowski.
Coach
Yeah, I
Phyllis
think he's the
Esposito,
better.
and I'm not making a comparison here, but Phyllis Esposito made a career of being in front of that net and just collecting garbage goals his entire career, as many as 60 or 70 sometimes in a year.
I think
Like
I think he has a
he didn't
better
have
shot.
He doesn't. He
I think
didn't have that speed. He didn't have that
You cannot
ingenuity of
compare Phyllis Pustomak and our top with Slafkovsky.
that.
We talk about one of the
No,
best players in the NHL versus Slafkovsky. He's never going to
yeah,
beat that
but
level.
we're
didn't I
talking
start
type.
the conversation by saying I don't want to compare him? What I'm saying is, Phil Esposito made a living, a career, and an all-star career, Hall of Fame,
Steve
by
Kerr.
just being in
Steve
front of the net. It wasn't because he could skate like the wind. It wasn't because he
Steve,
was the most ingenious player on the ice. Yes, he was intelligent, but he collected almost all his goals off of rebounds, quick passes. He was fantastic, screening the goalie and just collecting those garbage
So you
goals.
guys,
And
you
we
want to Slafkovsky become a guy go into the net and pick up the ball, the rebound goal. That's what you
on the
you
power
try to
play.
tell
No,
us
we're
tonight,
talking about
guys.
the
Both of
power play.
you telling us Slafkovsky, he's a guy. He have to be in front of the net and pick up the garbage goal and to become an expert on that one over there. Is not to have a shot to the dots, everything like that. That's what you try to tell me right now. Because you tell me
so
he need to drive to the net. He need to go low below the hash mark. If this is the case, I think we don't see Slafkovsky the right way. I don't think so. They see that
Okay.
kind of
Coach,
the,
you can't
the play.
mold somebody into something that they're not. So first of all, so I think he has a superior shot than to what Gallagher has. Like I think I'm not saying he doesn't have a good wrist shot, that he won't score goals. Like he's not never going to score one timers or wrist shot goals. I'm just saying the majority of his offense is going to come from
3 or
down
4 goals
low.
last year is like this, man, Marco. Against the St. Louis Blues, a one-timer shot from
One
about
of them, only
35 feet against
one of them,
Bennington. And then he
one
scored
of
the
them,
goal that way.
only one
I
like
know,
that, and
3
it
of the
wasn't
4 last year he did.
no. No,
I
it was
don't think
the
so.
one. He had one goal that was a one timer. That's it. So, and
What's
again, you go back and look at his offense. A lot of his offense, he'll like. It's not just picking up garbage goals, guys. It's give and go
going in the
plays. It's
corners?
not just picking up rebounds. It's off the cycle. You get a pass, and then all of a sudden you're in the slot and you
And I'm
deep the
score.
goalie.
Sorry about that. And I'm score. Empty net.
Oh wow!
Wow!
There we
All
go.
right, Vegas. It was a good run, Vegas. Coach, I don't think there's any shame. Look at players like Tim Kerr. Being a net front kind of guy. It's not just going to be all garbage goals. Like there's a lot of
Yeah,
creative plays. Like I said, like people in their minds think that it's not offensively creative if it's not off the rush or a one timer. Like look at Austin Matthews. Yes, he's known for his one timers, but the majority of his goals now are not one timers. They're like, kind of like quick little shots around the net. Like, look at all the goals he scored about Montreal, finding like a quiet little spot. And like that, those are the kinds of plays that he's going to be creative. So I would rather get him playing low on the power play. I think personally, Monahan is the perfect bumper guy rather than the goal line guy,
yes,
and
yes.
gives Slafkovsky that opportunity to play low on the first unit. He's being completely wasted on the second power play unit on the point.
So why
Like
not
you're
to
right,
put
Coach.
him on unit number 2 on the goal line?
As long as he's playing in the right
As
position,
long as he's doing
I
that
still,
role, yeah.
yeah, as long as he's doing the right role. But I think we just need to get Anderson off the first unit power play. So you need somebody to come in and fill that void. I would just simply switch Monahan. You have Monahan right
But
now that's
they
playing
were
the
right
goal.
there for unit number 1.
You could do that too. Dvorak is very good net front as
It's
well,
a
for sure.
bumper. He always been a bumper over there. But I think Slafkovsky, for me, I don't see Slafkovsky like that. Like
Yeah.
Well,
I
how
don't
If
many
see
you think
times? How many
Slafkovsky
times?
pick up the puck in front of net and to pick up a low about that one there. If Slafkovsky cannot
You
have
know,
a one-timer to the dots and wrist shot the puck over there, we did a really bad pick with Slafkovsky.
Did you watch him in his
I
Yeah,
draft
think,
year?
I will show you. Guys, I'm going to make all the
yeah,
goals of Slafkovsky and the World Championship last season because you guys said he did not score a goal. He goes just cover gate
One.
last
Scored one.
season. And then I'm going to go to the junior, just show you if he score more goal on the pick up the puck in front of the net or he score more goal on the wrist shot. Always the
A
one
lot of
time
the
slap
so
shot.
again, coach. Let me be clear. I'm not just saying picking up rebounds and putting in rebounds. I'm saying
no,
give and
no.
go plays down low. So a lot of the goals that you'll see in the Olympics and World Championships are down low plays, and then he'll kind of circle into the middle of the ice and shoot. So I'm not saying there's going to be shots. Like he'll still shoot into the net, but the goals are not coming off the rush or off one-timers. They're coming off give and go plays when off the cycle. Those are the kinds of goals that he scored. If you can find if you go back and find that all his goals are one-timers, I'll eat my hat. Like that's
I
I've
don't
watched
say he's
all
got
the
all the goal one time, but what my point is, if Slafkovsky would not consider him like more like a shooter, I think for me, I don't see why we pick up him about that. I thought he was a
Yeah, but
power forward with shooter puck from the dots at 20 feet with a
but
great,
why
great
not
wrist
put that
shot, a
size
slap
in front of
shot,
the
and
net,
one
Cody?
timer shot.
he's
Why
more
not
of
put
a
that
he's more of
size
a
in front of the net? Like how many times, even in his prime, we said Gallagher's amazing in front of the net. Imagine if he had about another 4 or 5 inches, how imposing he would be in terms of scoring for Montreal. And again, I'm not saying that that's his only role. Get him in front of the net and that's it. Like he's very good at digging out the puck in the corners, and he will make good passes. But we got to get him, yes, to shoot, but also if something is in front of him and he's creating that opportunity in front of the net, take it. Don't look for a
yeah.
pass. Take it.
But don't underestimate his ability to. It's not just about him scoring. Like I think he's going to have more assists in the NHL than he does have goals. Like a lot of like he's going to facilitate. Like one of his favorite plays when he's 2-on-1 is like he'll fake shot and then he goes because he's so tall, he can kind of go around a guy and then he finds a total other lane and finds like remember that Newhook goal that where Newhook scored and he was able to do the cross crease pass. You're going to see a lot of that. Like a lot of his plays that I watched are like very creative plays from behind the net where he finds like an open teammate and things like that, right? So I think he has a create like he's very creative offensively. That so to me, I see him more as a Nichushkin kind of player with a little bit like more offensive upside than Nichushkin. There's the kind of where I see. I don't see him being a Rantanen player. If that's the case, like holy shit, we'll be lucky. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I see a more elite version of a Nichushkin kind of guy is what I see.
Yeah, a body that's hard to move.
Yeah, but more creative too. Like uses his body to um, create very, very creative plays down low, which means that he needs to play with players that are creative and know where to go on the ice and things like that. But
Yeah.
he's not a shoot first guy. He's like maybe that's why he doesn't have confidence. Like I hope they're not seeing the same way as you, coach, because if like maybe if they're putting it down his throat that hey, we want you to be a one-time shooter, we want you to shoot. I don't think that's in his DNA. Like you can't you can't form something into something that it's not. And I don't think that's who he is. It's like if you ask Caulfield, we want you to be Suzuki and try to pass most of the time. It's not in his DNA. I don't see it that way.
I will go to
Yeah.
show to you guys how many goal he did on the one timer,
Okay.
on the wrist shot, and on side of 10 feet from the net. And how many
Okay.
goals he scored like on breakaway and pick up the puck 5 feet in front of the net. I will compare both
Yeah.
stats. You're going to realize that. You tell me if I
From
was what if I
from the
was
NHL though. From the NHL, because there's a difference between the size of the ice rink, and we don't talk about this much, where he has more room to take that shot than he does here. Right? That's
But
going to
I
be a
don't think we
big
have
difference.
enough,
But
but I
get
don't think we
those
have enough
clips
sample size.
from the NHL.
We don't have enough sample size in the NHL to really have a good sense of that, right? Like
Yeah, but then we're comparing apples and oranges too. It's a totally different game in
but
Europe.
what I'm saying is that in his draft year, and also in the international tournaments where he played, yes, it was on a bigger ice, but the reason that like those are the games of why Montreal drafted him, right? They saw something in him during those games and they
Yeah.
understood kind of okay, so to me, his skill, he was never a one-time guy. He's not like, somebody that's a Joe Saka who's like coming down the wing and then doing like a wrist shot through using a screen of defenseman. Like, has he scored goals like this? Yes, of course. I'm not saying he's never scored goals like that,
so
but
he is
most
not a
of his
Ratanen. So you tell me guys tonight he is not Mika Ratanen prototype the players. So he's
definitely
more
not.
like Nicholson.
Doesn't
So
look
we talk about maybe a second line or more a third line.
No, I'd say, like I said, he's a more skilled Nichushkin. I think he'll have more offensive production than Nichushkin. So on a winning NHL team, I think he'll be like. But again, like if you're talking just about points, I think he's going to play on our first line, but he's
Yeah.
not going to be like a 100-point player. No, I don't think he's going to be a 100-point player. But you're not. I'm not. I just don't look at points in terms of value, right? Like, go back to what they said when they drafted him. They drafted him because he's a unicorn. Now I know we said they also said that about
We
like
overuse it.
summer, right? So I think they're overusing that term, but
Yeah.
they said unicorn. So even that he might not get 80 points, but it's the type he's going to facilitate Suzuki and Caulfield to maybe get 80 points, right? So
Yes.
he's very unique player. I guess their reasoning, and you can agree or disagree with it. I'm not advocating either way, but so it's easier to draft a Cooley who can maybe get 80 to 100 points. Like in that, because if Montreal, they thought maybe they were going to draft again in the top 5 the next year, but then they drafted Reinbacher, right? Whole other question. But it's harder to draft a Slafkovsky. It's more rare to draft a guy like Slafkovsky versus drafting a Cooley. Now you can agree or disagree with that, but that's, I think, what their reasoning was. So, Coach, I think you're going to be disappointed if you think he's going to be Rantanen. Sorry.
No, for me it's like if I'm back again. If we
We should
successfully
never.
become a guy pick up the puck in front of the net like Gallagher, I'm like,
What I
jeez,
said though.
what a bad
That's not
mistake
what
we
I
No,
did
said.
no,
right there.
no. No,
That's
that's
not what.
one
You
aspect.
said to
That's
me,
one
guys,
aspect that
forward,
okay.
lower, close to the net, pick up the puck,
Yes,
put the puck in the net.
on the
That's what
power
is
play.
good. That's
On
what
the
you said,
power
both of
play.
you tonight.
Here's
On the power
Coach. Here's a
play.
good
On the
example. Here's
power
a good
play.
example. Here's a good example, Coach. What about Corey Perry? Corey Perry is a premier player at playing down low, coming up with creative plays. So, what if I compared him more to a Corey Perry? Would that be more conducive, and you'd be less furious if you're comparing him to Corey Perry than Brendan Gallagher?
Because Corey
Because
Perry
Corey
doesn't have
Perry,
the speed. He
So
doesn't
you
have
telling me
speed.
right now he could become a guy like Corey Perry?
I'm not in terms of
No,
his,
no, not about not like
But why?
number the point or 400 goal. What it's not point. The style
no,
I'm
no.
talking about. That's what I'm talking
Well,
about.
okay, he's not going to be as crusty as like he's not going to be as mean,
No,
and
no,
he's
no,
not going to.
no, no, no. I'm talking about Corey Perry. Pick up the puck in front of net, and he's in front of net, and he get the goal there.
No, no, no. Here and that's the problem we're getting into here is we're trying to make comparisons to other hockey players, and we
True,
shouldn't be doing that because the
it's hard.
moment you do, you're going to find an exceptionality in each one of them that he isn't as proficient in, and vice versa. I think he has his game, and what I'm saying is he can cycle the puck. He can get in the corners. He can get himself in the right positions. He can make both Suzuki and Caulfield on the power play that much more effective with his style of play. Can he shoot? Absolutely, and he should. I think that will come with time, but we have to allow him to sort of find his own identity within the system that we're playing. And as Marco said earlier, they did draft him for one sole purpose, and that was to play on that first line with Cole Caulfield and Suzuki.
Yeah, because Coach, you're looking at it like, okay, so you're telling me he's going to be a second line player. No, like maybe if you're just ranking things in terms of points, but that's not how we should do it, right? Like it's he's going to be a complementary player for the type of players that we have, and a very unique one. So it's kind of like the same rationale they had for Reinbacher. They drafted Reinbacher at a premium because he's a right-handed, big, mobile defenseman, and those are impossible to trade for, right? So they put extra value on that versus a Logan Cooley, who is a mid-sized forward with high-end skill, but those are easier to find than somebody with the attributes they think that Slafkovsky has at his size. That's the gamble that they made. We'll see if they're right. Again, based on what I saw in the draft year, I was also excited about those things about Slafkovsky. I really like Juracek and I really like Cooley in that draft year as well. Those were kind of my 3 favorite guys. But it is what it is. I love Slafkovsky. I wish he was a bit meaner. I
Yeah,
I think
he's
that
too
would
nice of a player.
grow that beard.
Absolutely.
Get a little meaner looking. I think that would help.
All right, a lot of comments in the chat will be too long to to take everybody in the chat. I'll be forever about this. We want to finish the show about other things we have to talk about. Montreal Canadiens, Lane Hutson, 3 goals over the weekend. One another great performance, guys. That's the reason why the Montreal select him. Honestly, you can see the shape, how he
Oh,
moved. Uh, he has
man,
like look the shot accuracy and one
oh,
move there. And
He
this is the
creates
first goal
space.
of the night. This is the second goal of the night on this one. Look, he become a winger. He realized the old. He anticipated the play. He read the play well, and you see it right there. He did not go back at the blind. He come back over there and on the tip. I think it was a pass to Celebrini on that one, if I can recall
Yes,
it.
it
What a
was.
great pass
Yeah,
for
it was.
Celebrini on that one. The third goal on that one is coming to the blue line. Again, accuracy. He have a better shot than people think he has, and he is more like the goaltender. The goaltender does not expect those kind of shots. But after 2 period, North Dakota 3 and the Boston and the Lane Hudson 3, and that's what he accomplished Saturday night, last night, honestly, for the team over there. So great game for him with the Boston. 9.7 game, 7 goal and 6 game, and you have 2
Yeah.
assists. So 9.6 game, or yeah, I think I'm right. 6 and 7. There you go. 6 goal and 7
I think
game, 9 point and 7 game, 6 and 3, and and we'll see what happen after that. But if you have some kind of worry about Lane Hudson, the kid can play hockey.
just worried about
absolutely.
his durability. He did get injured. That's the only thing with him, right? Is let's get him a bit stronger. We know he's not going to get taller, just a little bit thicker. Need him a little bit thicker, and you just hope that he's just just grow out those Martin Saint Louis tree trunk legs, and we'll be happy.
But
Yeah,
it will help
he's a
the power
good
play
one.
for sure.
Oh yeah,
He's a keeper. Yeah.
Yep.
He's going to get that one there. We're going to skip the Drake goaltender, guys. All right, that we're going to see that. We struggle in the Laval Rocket, guys. It's not looking good over there. Not easy. Many injuries since the beginning of the season. Remember the first game, we have like 9 players that was out of the lineup, and now the missing player, they have to call up player from the 12-year. Whatsoever, the 12-year Lions and the East Coast Hockey League are the best team in the league over there, and the Laval are the worst team in the league. And Joshua Roy has 0 point, guys, in the last 2 games. And that proves another reason, guys, that sometimes just because 7, 8, 9 game, you think this guy is going to be great, and then the guy will not going to be good. Time will tell us, but he's at the right spot for the Laval Rocket. A young team struggled. One player nobody talk about is doing well. It's Rick Wyatt. It's Sean Farrell, by the way. You can see the progression of Sean Farrell. Not on the point, but the way he plays. And that's he's going to make NHL, and that's he's going to be with Montreal. But you have some player. Another player for me is stood out for Laval Rocket is really Jaden Stubble. Stubble.
He's consistent.
If I have to call a defenseman right now, I call him.
You can't call it
confident about him.
Yeah, I don't. You can't, like, Trudeau hasn't really had a good start. Norlinder is Norlinder. We know what he is. So, if you need somebody to play on your second power play unit, then you call him up. But, if you want somebody to come up and actually eat up some minutes and everything, and that would be my pick as well, Coach. I think for sure he's definitely been the strongest story. Mayu, like, he's had his struggles. They're playing. I don't like how they have him with Pocket Bisson. Like, I just don't like that pairing over there that they have going on. It's not like I knew that Laval was going to struggle a little bit to start the season, guys. Like, it is a very young team. Goaltending has been an issue.
Well, that's the key thing, Marco. I think somehow we have to find a way to get Caden Primo back down there just to give some stability to the goaltenders. Because right now it starts there and works out like that, and the fact that there's a lot of new players and there isn't much experience on the team. that maybe even a Caden Primo brings if he goes down there. I know he's a goalie, but still he brings a little bit of experience and know
Something to
how to.
settle, yeah, something to settle things down. A couple other things if we're talking about prospects, like Machar actually had a decent week in the OHL,
Machar
which is
did,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, Machar. And then good news, Weinbacher is back playing games. I didn't really get to watch any clips or anything, but from what I understood, he had a good first game back and was eating quite a few minutes. So he did miss a few games with that knee injury. So good to see him back. Important year of development for Weinbacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great point about this. Why is Canada no longer producing dominant NHL level goaltender coaching?
Ooh, that's a
We've been
coach that
saying
maybe
we've been saying that for a while.
maybe summer.
It's
That's a summer question, coach. Like in the off
yeah,
season, we
yeah.
should have like a full week like deep dive on goaltending and all that. That's such an interesting topic. It would be cool to bring on like an expert on goaltending development from like maybe Hockey Canada or something. That would be a
Yeah,
very interesting.
Canada.
exactly. I think for me, it's coming for the country first. I think the country
Yes.
need to base more in Canada, have more seminar or showcase or more to the goaltender. Secondly, educate more the coaches about goaltender, and they have people they can follow up with them and make them better at the end of the day. It start with the structure and the organization and the plan of the country first, and then you can move on that one. That's for me. That will be my best answer I can give it to you about that whatsoever. We have a great goaltender. Marco is from the Victoriaville Tigre.
And
Daigle,
it's very deep. It's
it would be the next
it's not
goaltender, one of the best in the NHL. Well, NHL. He's going to have a very good career in front of him for sure. Uh, let's move on. I
it's
don't
not a
know
very
about
cool
NHL
position
yet,
either.
guys. We want to finish to be sure to preview the game this week, guys. Montreal Canadiens, I will put the game Sunday because usually it's easy, it's a Sunday to Saturday. But next week, after game, we're going to go to the show Monday night. So I include the game again, the Vancouver Canucks. So Tuesday, Tampa Bay Lightning, the Detroit Red Wings Thursday. We have a Boston Saturday. And by the way, they play Boston the following Saturday. And then we have Vancouver Canucks. I would like to hear the prediction of you guys. First of all, guys, before that, the winner of the last week is Leon Renault. 0-1. He nailed it very properly. This is the game of the week next week if you want to see that. They're going to play in Detroit Thursday on the road, and they come back for the back-to-back game. This is at 7 o'clock, the starting of the game, both of the game. So I would like to hear from you guys. Your prediction of the game, maybe talk overview about the Montreal Canadiens. Expect goaltender. Do you think Primo start one game over there, 3 game and 4 night, 4 game and 6 night? They have 2 night like that, and then next week they play 3 more game, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So you calculate, guys. It's I believe a 7 game and 12 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll start it off if you don't mind, Marco. I see here all 3 goalies being used, and you're going to probably see Allen being used twice. I would suspect probably on the 7th and the 11th. You'll probably see Montebo on the 9th, and we might see Caden Primo come in on the 12th against Vancouver, which is not going to be an easy task for him. But I mean, you can't leave him in limbo like he has been recently. Um, it's a tough schedule. I'll say that they're going to have their work cut out for them. Having said that, I don't think that their fate the last 2 games really reflected where they are in their development. I think that that they can bring more to the table, and they will. They'll respond. I'm going to go with a 2-2 record here for this week.
Wow. I'd agree that Primo gets a game this week. I suspect that they'll probably play him on one of the US. So which ones are the home games? Sorry,
Uh,
The, the red ones.
so
the only
Detroit is the
play they don't play home is Thursday against Detroit.
Detroit. Yeah.
okay. So yeah, okay. So then I think maybe Primo gets Detroit. So maybe they go Allen against Tampa, Primo gets Detroit, and then they go, either Allen and Montembeault back to back. I find that they tend to play Primo when they're in U.S. cities. I don't know. So just a hunch there. In terms of record, I suspect like St. Louis had a couple days here, flight back. First game back from the road trip though is always dangerous too, right? Like, but younger team with they don't have like kids. A lot of them don't have kids and shit like that to worry about. So I think they've had a tough couple games here. So I say they come back and they have a strong effort against Tampa. So they win that one, tight game, but maybe they win against Tampa. But then I'm not sure how here, but maybe they get. And so I'm gonna, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 1, 2, and 1. So maybe they'll get like a point out of the last 3 games, but I think they'll lose 3. But maybe they get a point. So I'll go 1, 2, and 1.
All right. Roy, ask you in our time, which one they beat?
Well, let me start with the one that's probably our biggest rivalry, and that's Boston. I think that they can always get their game up for that. So I think that they'll definitely have. It's going to be tough, but I think they'll get a victory there, and I think they'll get one against Tampa Bay. Detroit and Vancouver. We haven't reacted well on back to backs so far this year, so that one I'm worried about, especially with how hot Vancouver's been, and Detroit has really been playing at a much better level, and it's on the road, so it's going to be tough to get a victory there.
Sebastian really likes having pieces of cake for different games. Red Wings and Lightning, piece of cake. Walk in the park.
All right, I pick up everybody and the score here about that. So I have all your score about this. Luc Lafortune continues to go 0-4. We'll look about this. I go with ND.
He's going 0-82.
I go with ND. I see 0-3 and 1. For me, it will be hard for them back home and then play Tampa Bay. I know it's 2 days off, but still be a little bit difficult. Detroit, I see a point there. Again, Detroit, and then Boston dominate, and then Vancouver. I don't know how long it'll be Vancouver at home and Montreal. So they are 2 days off. Maybe now Montreal win, but I don't know how long they will be at the Montreal area, Vancouver. They all just come back from Ottawa the night before. I don't know. But you talk about 3 games, 4 nights for Montreal. This is the reason why I go with 0-3-1 and 4 games, 6 nights. So that would be that one over there. Patrick Leblanc go 3-1, Monsieur Laptap. Patrick Leblanc with Leon. Patrick Leblanc is the only one guys go with 3-1.
I thought Entertap was being overly optimistic.
I thought it was going to be positive about that. Nicolas, guys, go with 0-2-2 is the first one. Does it, Nicolas? And Alain Bianco go with 1-3-0. And I think Marco did that, right?
No, I said 1, 2, and 1.
You're right. 1, 2, and 1. Sorry about that. Mike Babineau go with 2-2, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Babineau 2-2. About that.
There you go, Mark.
For all your information, guys, our pick Saturday, not good.
No,
not good.
Very
we
bad.
got beat very bad. Roy go with me, guys. He decided to go follow the coach and AK. Roy go with 0-3-1. And that's pretty much what we got. Still 5 minutes, guys. I don't know if you want to sit a bit like 5 more minutes. Give us a little bit an overview of NHL. Maybe the good thing, the bad things, worries. Like what is anything you want to talk about NHL for the next 5 minutes before the show is over, guys. Don't forget tomorrow night I will be back here tomorrow night at the Hockey Nation Live Show. Marco D'Amico, guys. Oh, I forgot to I apologize if you don't mind, guys, to remind you. Marco D'Amico will be there Wednesday at 9 o'clock p.m. with Tap for the Inside of Montreal Canadiens with Marco D'Amico. So expect to join us live. Any question want to talk about Marco D'Amico? That night I'll be off. I will just listening. I will not talking about Slafkovsky Wednesday night. NHL, Mr. Narta or Marco? The good, the bad, team players bringing on.
You go first.
You know what? I'm gonna bring up two things here that don't necessarily deal with specific teams, but things going around in the league that fall either into the good or bad category. Number one is the coaching carousel that I think we're going to see over the next little while. Things are not going well in Edmonton. Things are not going well in Ottawa right now. And I think you can anticipate something happening in those two cities alone, maybe even a third one. And, I know probably not in Calgary, but that's a different story altogether. But and here's another consideration. I knew I threw out Gallant for Ottawa the other day, and I was thinking about it a bit. And somebody that would make a lot of sense too would be somebody like Claude Julien. Just to keep another name in the hat, and I think he could bring the structure to Ottawa that it so desperately needs. So that's one thing, the coaching carousel. And then the second thing I wanted to bring up is I know today there was news that came out that another player from the Chicago Blackhawks that played with Kyle Beach has come out and is suing the Chicago Blackhawks again, and for similar problems and situations. And it seems like it was almost pretty much swept under the carpet back then, and something has to be done, and so that the message gets put forward that this is not going to happen again. The proper measures are in place to avoid this. It's almost kind of ironic and silly when you think that we've just penalized a hockey organization like Ottawa for bad paperwork, and we took away a first-round draft pick from them as a means of as a deterrent. And with the whole Chicago situation, nothing's been really done, if you think about it. Yeah, Joe Quenneville got released, and a couple of other GMs got their wrists slapped, but in comparison, nothing was done. And if anything, you can say, hey, they won the lottery and even got Connor Bedard out of the whole situation. So that's where I'll stop.
Good one, man. Yeah, I 100% agree with those. I'd say, two things, I guess, that stick out to me is, Coach, I don't know, we might have to have our yearly, are the Toronto Maple Leafs in crisis show? Like, I think almost a year ago to this day, the Leafs had lost like 5 in a row. We had, we're like, okay, we might as well do a show about that. I know we're a Habs channel, but, maybe we'll have to do another one of those. It seems like Toronto over the last couple of years have struggled, and then they have a really strong November. I think they're obviously still a much stronger team than they've shown here, but I don't love the roster construction they did over the summer, but I think they'll still have a strong November. But I don't know. Let's skip the Toronto crisis show this year, Coach. We have enough going on with the Habs. So that's an interesting story. The other one, though, you have to address is what might be, we might be viewing like a historically bad San Jose Sharks team here, guys. Like it's bad. Like, I knew they were going to be bad, but like 2 games in a row, I think they've allowed more than 10 goals per game. That's a disgrace. That's a disgrace, guys. Like, I think what was the worst regular season team in the 21st century? I think was that Detroit team a couple years ago. Like I think it was Detroit that had like
that really had the worst record. That had the worst record. You mean? Wasn't it? Isn't it Washington that had the worst?
I mean, I think in the 21st century, or in the
21st. Okay, yeah.
So, anyways, I know the last team to be really that bad was Detroit, right? But I think we might be seeing something at a whole different level here. Like it's painful, and like it's hard for the NHL to kind of like come up with rules against this. Like I don't think the Sharks are like tanking. Like the Sharks are just really bad. It's not like they
Just done
traded
nothing.
Carlson, but like it's a very bleak situation there, guys. Like it's going to take a long time to rebuild that. So really ugly looking stuff there. So I think to me those are two of the more interesting stories for sure. The Vancouver story is interesting. I'm still not 100% believer in the Canucks. Like I think they've always had that same high level talent, but I'm a little concerned about their depth in the long term and their decor. Demko is a really strong goaltender, but elite players will carry you for a while. But I'm still not sold on Vancouver yet. We'll have to see.
All right, we're going to finishing with two questions. First of all, we have Ron talk about the Colorado Avalanche. What do you think about the team and the last 3 of the 4 game and shootout?
Spanked by Vegas, like a total statement game by Vegas last night.
That
Wow.
shocked me. That game.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a much more competitive game, but
Yeah.
here
I
you
didn't
are.
watch it.
Yeah.
Did you watch it? I didn't see it. Like was it as bad as the score would indicate? Like I didn't get to
Oh,
see
they
any of it.
dominate them.
Yeah.
They dominate
Yeah.
them. I think
Vegas totally.
for me, Colorado is about the bottom 6 right now. They don't get a lot from Colton line, and that's what be they need more balance from the inside the roster. Tatar and Torin was LT scratch, but it's not about only them. Like the bottom 6,
No.
they don't have a lot of goal at the beginning of that. So if you can stop McKinnon or Rantanen in that line, it's harder for them after that. Uh, I don't know if McCall play
Devin
with an
Tays is
injury
off
or
to
he's
a bad
the full,
start.
but it's a team. It's it's the thing about this. Won the Stanley Cup. When Colorado won the Stanley Cup, they change players, right? They have to. Yeah, no choice to keep everybody. Vegas guys, they won the Stanley Cup and they always at the salary cap like crazy. They struggle. $1 is the end of the world. Like they figure out something. They send player left and right. Who care? But they keep the core of the
They only
Stanley
lost
Cup
one
last
player.
year. It's rare
They
you
only
see
lost
that.
they only lost one guy. Like Riley is the only player that's left from last year.
Big
That's
one.
crazy.
It's a big one,
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh no, they lost Phil Cassell.
Okay. He
Yeah.
wasn't a roster player, but do you think he'll play again? Like he's still out there, right? Like
He want to play.
he just
He skate every day. He have an interview last week about this. He wait for the phone call. He expect he could play with helping. He don't care anymore about his record. Like you know what I mean. He does. He just love the game. I think many people does not understand. They really know who is really Phil Kessel. People talk about his hell, the hot dog, everything like that, but I don't know how many people know how he loved the game. He had passion about the game, Phil Kessel, and he produces every year when he play and how he can score goal for sure about that. And the next question, guys, about the many questionable, and the question is about the referee. Overview the referee performance so far. What do you think about the performance so far?
I think Entertap talked about this last week. He had his editorial comments about it. I don't see a huge difference from years past, to be honest. Like it's pretty standard that, in October, early at the beginning of the season, they have a higher standard in terms of what they're calling. And then guys, we've been having this debate forever. Like, are you going to call the rule book, or you're destroying the flow of the game by calling too many penalties? It's a forever debate. It's just about getting the right mix between calling the rule book, and not killing the flow of the game. It's I don't think it's a situation that can be fixed super easily. But I don't know. Like I haven't noticed a huge drop off in the quality of officiating. Like there's a couple of the more kind of senior officials that have retired, I guess. So you're breaking in some younger officials, but I don't see anything structurally different. I guess one thing that's different is that there's been more penalty shot calls. I guess the league kind of gave that directive. We saw it against Montreal. That was interesting, right? I think it was like a Canadiens record where they had 3 games in a row where they gave up a penalty shot. So other than that, I haven't seen anything really that different in terms of officiating. I don't know.
How about the proficiency of injuries this year, Marco? That's what has me worried, and the lack of calls on some of those types of plays in which players have become injured. I understand that they want the flow of the game to be there, and they probably have that directive as well. Because let's face it, if they were to call every single knick-knack penalty, it would slow the game to a snail's pace, and it doesn't sell when it's like that. I totally understand that, but especially things that are dangerous. And we've seen the NHL officiating has become stricter, even in the administrating of suspended games. It seems like the new norm now is at around 4 games now when a hit is made to the head. But why aren't sometimes these calls made on the ice? Like you have in most cases 2 referees and you have 2 linesmen as well, and it's not a lot of boarding calls have been overlooked. Players are getting injured with that. To me, it just seems maybe I'm looking too closely at it. It's a little bit too much, and I'm more worried not about the game or the refereeing, but what it could lead to, and that's the increased amount of injuries in the NHL.
I
Yeah,
don't
sorry
know.
about that. A great comment, both of you. I don't know if you want to add something, Marco.
I was just saying, like, refereeing is one of it's one of those things I tried, like, unless it's really noticeable, it's kind of like being too aware of your own eyebrows, right? Like, you just want it to be in the background and not really be at the focal point, right? So, um, it would be interesting, Coach. I don't know if you know this. Like, is the average age of referees much lower than like? I know there's a lot of more senior guys that have retired. So, is this just like a cyclical thing where there's a bunch of younger referees that are breaking in? Like, there could be, kind of like actual valid reasons behind maybe this stuff. Like, I haven't really looked into it that deeply, to be honest. But guys, it's never going to be
Could be.
perfect, and it is what it is, man. Like, what I'd like to see is the media should be able to talk and debrief the head referee, not all the whole staff, but the head referee. Like, they should be accountable and be able to answer questions after games.
Yeah, I
Agreed.
agree with you about that one there. That's concluded the show tonight. I don't think so. We have a few more questions, but we are late right now, so I don't want to go too much deep about that. But what a great night, everybody. We have a lot of people in the chat. We want to thank each one of you. We have a super chat tonight for Roger Delaney, so we want to thank Roger Delaney, of course. And then all the moderators, Roger, Luciano with Run with Kings was a moderator tonight. And all the people in the chat tonight, we appreciate your comments. A lot of great comments. When we go deep on different subject, it's difficult to pick up all your subject, guys, in the chat. But great question for everyone. We appreciate a lot you participate tonight to click on the likes. We'll be back tomorrow night, of course. And then don't forget Wednesday night, we have Marco D'Amigo with us. Until then, guys, we want to remind this one because that's who they are. You are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. Yes, you have greatness inside of you, both of you. Thanks to be a co-host of the show, to give us your volunteering to be a part of the Hockey Nation, the Ab Nation. We really appreciate it. We're really thankful and grateful. We want to wish everybody an amazing, great night, an amazing, great week for another week in November. We're getting close to the Thanksgiving. Oh, yes, the Thanksgiving Awards. Coach Frenchie coming very soon. Don't miss the show. This is the show of the year of the Hockey Nation show. But until then, be well, be ill, find a way not only to dominate your day, but find a way to dominate the second half of what?
Your 2023.
You did it again. Had an amazing, great night, everybody. Sweet dream in the Hockey Nation show and the Ab Nation. I want to tell you one more thing. We love you, people. Thanks, Marco. Thanks, Mr. Enartap. I will see you Wednesday night.
Good night, everyone.
Have a good night. Lots
Good
of
night.
fun. Thanks.
Thanks so
Bye.
much.
Thank you. Bye.
Come on, get a grip now of all the ways we parted. You showed in your own way we would stand and we would fall united.
Booyah!